Guys, hi, hello, you're gonna watch Napoleon Hill, The Master Key to Riches, Chapter 5, The Habit of Going Extra Mile. The lunchroom buzzed with excitement as the conference participants discussed what they have learned that morning. Achieving definiteness of purpose was an important goal and one that would put any committed individual on the path of achievement. The afternoon session promised for more guidance, and by the time nearly everyone attending the conference remembered to bring tape recorder, writing supplies, and other materials to help them remember the wise speaker's words. When they returned to the auditorium, they were surprised to find a table spread with handwritten note cards addressed to each attendee. Inside the notary, go to extra mile and you will ensure multiple rewards for yourselves and others. It was not signed, but everyone knew who it was from, and they were impressed the speaker had taken the time to acknowledge each person. His gesture made everyone more eager to hear the next principle he was about to share. As they settled down, the speaker came out from the curtain, looked around the room and gave an enormous smile. Clearly, he was enjoying himself and his enthusiasm was truly contagious. An important principle of success in all walks of life and in all occupations, he began, is a willingness to go to the extra mile, which means the rendering of more and better services than that for which one is paid, and giving it more positive mental attitude. Search wherever you will go for single sound argument and against this principle, and you will not find it, nor you will find a single instance of ensuring or enduring success which was not attained in any party by its applications. And the principle is not the creation of humankind, it is the part of nature's handiwork. And for it is obvious that every living creature below the intelligence of human is forced to apply the principle in order to survive. Many or may disagree the principles if they choose, but they cannot do so, and at the same time enjoy the fruits of enduring success. Observe how nature applies these principles in the participation of food that grows and from the soil, where the farmer is forced to go to the extra mile by clearing the land and plowing it and planting the seeds at the right time of the year, for none of which they are paid in advance. But observe that if thus his work is in harmony with nature's law and the performance the necessary amount of labor, nature takes over the job wherever the farmer's labor ends, and germinates the planted seed and develop it into the crop. And observe thoroughly this significant fact. For every one grain or for wheat or corn or the farmers plant in the soil, nature yields perhaps 100 grains, thus enabling the farmers to benefit by the law of increasing return. Nature goes to the extra mile by producing enough of everything for their needs, and together with a surplus for emergency and waste. For example, the fruit on trees, the bloom for which the fruit is grown, frog in the pool, and fish in the seas. So, if this were not true, the species of all the living things would soon vanish. Some believe that the beasts and birds of the jungle live without labor, but thoughtful people know that this is not true. It is true that nature provides the source of food for living thing, but every creature must labor before may it eat that food. So thus we see the nature discourage the habit which some have acquired, trying to get something for nothing. Advantage of the habit of going extra mile are definite and understandable. Let us examine some of them and be convinced. The habit brings the individual to the favorable attention of those who can and will provide opportunities of self-advancement. It tends to make an indispensable in many different human relationships, and it therefore enables one to command more than average compensation for personal services, and it leads to the mental growth and the physical skill and the perfection in many forms of endeavor, thereby addicting to one's earning capacity. It protects one against the loss of employment when employment is scarce and the place is in the position to command the best job. It enables one of the profit by being noticed, since the majority of people do not practice the habit. It leads to the development of positive mental attitude, which is essential for enduring success. It tends to develop a keen, alert imagination, because it has habit which inspires one continuously to seek new and a better way of rendering services. It develops the important quality of personal initiative. It develops self-reliance and courage. It serves as a build the confidence of others in one's integrity. It aids in elimination of destructive habits of procrastination. It develops definiteness of purpose, ensuring one against the common habit of aimlessness. There is still another and a great reason for following the habit of going the extra mile. It gives one the logical reason for asking for increased compensation if an employee performs no more service than that for each the employee is being paid. Then obviously he or she is receiving all the pay of which that person is entitled. The employee must render as much as that for which the employee is being paid in order to hold a job or maintain a source of income regardlessly of how it is earned. But one has to privilege that always of rendering a surplus of service as means of accumulation of goodwill and to provide a just reason of demanding more pay, a better position, or both. So next topic we are going to see is like how going extra mile is related to 12 riches. So the habit of going the extra mile is only one of the 17 principles of philosophy which Mr. Kagi has recommended to those who are seeking riches. But let us consider how it is directly related to 12 riches. First, this habit is inseparably related to the development of the most important of 12 riches, a position mental attitude or a positivity. When someone becomes the master of his own emotions and learns the blessed art of self-expressions through useful services to others, then the person has gone towards the development of positive mental attitude, which a positive mental attitude as a builder of a proper thought pattern reminder that 12 riches falls into the pattern as naturally as night follows day and inevitably. Recognizing this truth, and you will understand why the habit of going extra mile provides you benefits far beyond the mere accumulation of material riches. You will understand why this principle has been given first place in Mr. Kagi's philosophy of individual achievement. Let us now observe that the admonition of render more service and better service than that for which one is paid is paradoxical, because it is impossible for one to render any such services without receiving appropriate compensation. This compensation may come into many forms and from many different sources, some of them strange and unexpected sources, but it will come to you. So the worker who renders this type of service may not always receive appropriate compensation from the person to whom he renders the service, but this habit will attract him to many opportunities of self-advancement, among them new or more favorable sources of employment. Thus his pay will come to him indirectly. Ralph Waldo Emerson had this trust in mind when he said in his essay on compensation from 1841, "If you serve an ungrateful master, serve him the more. Put God in your debt, and every stroke shall be repaid. And the longer the payment is withholder, the better for you. And the compound interest on compound interest is rate the usage of this exchequer." So, speaking once more in the terms that seem paradoxical, be reminded that the most profitable time can one devote labor is that for which one receives no direct or immediate financial compensation. Remember, there are two forms of compensation available to those who work for wages. One is the wage receiving in the money, and other is the skill attained from the experience. A form of compensation which is often exceeds monetary remuneration. For skills and experience, the workers are the most important stock or trade through which to be promoted to a higher pay or greater responsibility. This is an asset of which no worker can be cheated, or no matter how selfish or greedy his immediate employee may be. It is compound interest on compound interest, which Emerson mentioned. So it was this very asset which enabled Charles M. Schwab to climb step by step from his lowly beginning as a day laborer to the highest position of his employee had to offer. And it was his asset as well as which bought Mr. Schwab a bonus of more than 10 times the amount of his salary. The $1 million bonus which Mr. Schwab received was his payoff for having to put in the best efforts into every job he performed. A circumstance, let us remember, which he controlled entirely, and it was a circumstance that could not have been happened if he had no followed the habits of going extra mile. And here, let us note that man that who follows the habit of going extra mile thereby places the purchase of his services under a double obligations to pay a just compensation, and one being an obligation based upon his sense of fairness, and the other based on his sense of fear of losing a valuable employee, and which we understand to what a greater industrial leader had in mind when he said, "Personally, I am not so much interested in a 40-hour per work minimum work law as I am finding how I can be crowned 40 hours into a single day." It was this same man who said, "If I were compelled to risk my chances of success upon but one of the 17 principles of achievement, I would without hesitatingly stake everything on a principle of going extra mile." Fortunately, however, was not obliged to make this choice, for the 17 principles of individual achievement are related to each other links of chain. Therefore, they blend into a medium of greater power through coordination of their use. The omission of any one of these principles would weaken the power, just to remove a single link would weaken the chain. Each of this principle represents through its use and a definite positive quality of the mind, and every circumstance that draws upon the power of thought calls for use of some same combination of principles. The 17 principle may be linked to the 26 letters of the alphabet, through the combinations of which all humans through may be expressed. The individual letter of the alphabet convey a little or no meaning, but when they are combined into a word, they may express any thoughts one can conceive. The 17 principles are the alphabet of individual achievement, through which all the talents may be expressed in the highest and most beneficial form, and they provide means by which they mean attain greater master key to riches. So next topic we are going to see under chapter 5 is like some who have benefited by the habits of going extra mile. No one ever performed any action without consequences. Let us see if we can reveal the consequences, if they will justify the habits of going extra mile by observing a few who have been inspired by it. So many years ago, an elderly lady who was strolling through a prescribed department store and obviously killing time, and she passed counter after counter without anyone paying any attention to her. All of the clerks had spotted her as an ideal worker who had no intention of buying. They made the point of looking in another direction when she stopped at their counters. Finally, the lady came to the counter that was attended by a young clerk who politely asked if he might serve her. No, she replied, and I am just killing time waiting for the rain to stop so I can go home. Very well, madam. The young man smiled. And may I bring out a chair for you? And he brought it without waiting for her answer. After the rain slacked, the young man took the old lady by the arm and escorted her to the street and bar to say goodbye. And as she sharply asked him for his card. Several months later, the owner of the store received a letter asking that this young man be sent to Scotland to take an order for furnishing of a home. The owner of a store wrote back that he was sorry, but the young man did not work in the house furnishing department. However, he explained that would be glad to send an experienced man to do the job. Back came the reply that no one would accept the particular young man, and the letter was signed by Andrew Cargie, and the house he wanted to furnish was Skibbo Castle in Scotland, and the elderly lady was Mr. Cargie's mother, and the young man was sent to the Scotland, and he received an order for several $100,000 worth of household furnishing and with a partnership of store, and he later became the owner of a half interest in the store. And some years ago, the editor of the Golden Rule magazine was invited to deliver a speech to the Palmer School in Diplomat and Illinois. So he accepted the invitation on his regular fee basis, which was $100, and traveling expenses too, which the editor at the college picked up enough editor material for several stories for his magazine after he had delivered the speech and was ready to return to Chicago. So he was told to return in his expense account and receive his check. He refused to accept any money for either his address or his expenses. Explanation that he had already been paid adequately by the material he had procured for his magazine. He took the train back to Chicago, feeling well repaid for his trip. The following week, he began to receive from the Davenport many subscriptions to his magazine. By the end of the week, he had received $6,000 in cash subscription. Then followed a letter from Palmer explaining that the subscription had come from his student, and he had been told of the editor's refusal to accept money which he had been promised and which he had been earned. During the following 2 years, the student and the graduates of the Palmer School sent in more than $50,000 in the subscription to the Golden Rule magazine. The story was so impressive that it was written up to the magazine that he had circulation throughout an English-speaking world, and through the subscription came from many different countries. Thus, by rendering $100 worth of service without collecting, the editor had started the law of increasing return to work in his behalf, and it yield became in turn of over 500 times his investment. The good habit or the habit of going extra mile is no pipe dream, so it pays and pays handsomely. Moreover, it never forgets. Like other type investment, the habit of going to the extra mile often yields dividends throughout one's lifetime. Let us look at what happened when they neglected an opportunity to go to extra mile. Late one rainy afternoon, an automobile salesman sat at his desk and showroom of a New York branch of an expensive automobile. The door opened and walked a man gently swinging a can, and a salesman looked up the reading of afternoon paper, to a swift glance at the newcomer, and immediately spotted him as another of those Broadway window shopper. So who do nothing but waste one's valuable time. He went ahead with a newspaper, not taking the trouble to rise for his chair. And the man came with a can, walked throughout the showdown and showroom, looking first at one car and then another. Finally, he walked over where the salesman was sitting, detailed on his can, and nonchalantly asked what the price for the three different automobiles on the floor. Without looking up from his newspaper, the salesman gave the price and went with his reading. And the man with can walked and back over the three automobiles at which he had been looking, kicked the tire of each one. And then he returned, busy man at the desk, and said, "Well, I hardly know whether I shall take this one and another over there, or whether I shall buy all three." The busy man at the desk responded with a sort of smirky, whisker smile, as much as to say, "Just as I thought." So then the man with the can said, "Oh, I guess I will buy one of them and send that one with the yellow wheels who will buy hopes tomorrow. And by the way, how much did you for?" he said. And he took out his checkbook, wrote out a check, handed it to the salesman, and walked out. When the salesman saw the name on the check, he turned fortune different and shades of pinks and almost swooned from heart failure. The man who signed check was Harry Penny Whitney, and the salesman knew that if he had only taken the time to get from his chair, he might have sold all three automobiles without any efforts. Withholding anything short of this best service of which one is capable of costly business, a fact which maybe have been learned too late, and the right of personal initiative is not worth much as fellow who is too indifferent or too lazy to exercise it. Many people are in this class without recognizing the reason they never accumulated riches. Over 40 years ago, a young salesman in a hardware store observed that the store had a lot of odds and ends which were outdated and not selling. Having time on his hands, and he rigged up a special table in the middle of the store. He loaded it with some unusual mechanized and marketing it with bargain price of dinner on an article. And to surprise that of the owner of the store, the gases sold like a hot cake. Out of the experience grew the great F.W. Woolworth and 5 and 10 cent share store system, and the young man who stumbled upon the idea by going extra mile was Frank W. Woolworth. And that idea yielded him for fortunate estimated more than thousands and thousands of dollars. And moreover, the same idea made several other persons rich, and applications of the idea are at the heart of many of the more profitable merchandising systems in America. No one told young man Woolworth to exercise his right personal initiative. No one paid him for doing so. Yet his action led to the over-increasing returns of his efforts. And once he put the idea into practice, increasingly returns nearly ran down into him. And there is something about the habit doing more than one is paid for which was on one's behalf even while he sleeps. Once he began to work, it piles up riches so fast it came like queer magic, which Aladdin lamps drawn to one's aid an army of genii which once laden with bags of gold. Some 30 odd years ago, a young newspaper reporter was sent to an interview on Gorky, and for the purpose of writing a story about the stupendous achievements in the industrial world. During the interview, Mr. Carnegie let drop the hint that if the reporter had the vision to go extra mile, to the tune about 20 years of unprofitable labor, he might do it the boy would make richer and by far than the great steel master. The reporter accepted the challenge and went to work after 20 years of unprofitable labor. Almost today, a reporter gave word that the net results of what he had learned about Andrew Carnegie method of accumulation riches, as well as he had learned of the methods of some 500 other successful men who had accumulated great riches by the simple expedition of going extra mile. Today, the information is being circulated in particularly every English-speaking country of the world, where it is serving many millions of people who wish to learn the secret of achievements through the exercise of personal initiative. It may be translated into many foreign languages. It is designed to help those who are not afraid of doing more than they were paid for, and who wish to convert their share of American opportunity into some from their riches. And the compensation this former newspaper reporter is now receiving is his 20 years of unprofitable labor affords him to riches sufficient for all his needs. Among the greatest of there are peace of mind, priceless friendship throughout the world, and that form of enduring happiness which is the lot of every man who had found his work likes it and is busily engaged in performing it. Some 30 years ago, Charles M. Square private railroad car was switched into the siding at a steel plant in Pennsylvania, and it was a cold, frosty morning. And as he alighted from the car, he was met by a young man, a stenographer's notebook in his hand, who hurriedly explained that he was a stenographer and general officer of Steel Company, and he had come down to meet Mr. Carr to see Mr. Squab. Needed any letter written or a telegram sent? Who asked you to meet me? Mr. Squab queried. And no one, the young man replied. I saw a telegram coming through announcing your arrival, so I came down to meet you, hoping I might be the some to service. Think of that, he came down hoping they might be able to find something to do which he was not paid, and he came on his own initiative without being told. Mr. Squad thanked him politely for his thoughtfulness, but he had no need to for stenographer at the moment. After carefully noting the young man's name, he sent the lad back to his work. That night, when the private car has hitched to the night train for his return to New York City, it carried the young stenographer he had been assigned at Mr. Squab's request for service in New York as one of the steel magnate assistant. The lad's name was Williams, and he remained in Mr. Squab's service for several years, during which opportunity after opportunity for promotions came to him unsolicited. And it was peculiar how opportunities have been with trying the people who make it their business to go extra mile, but they do verify definitely. And finally an opportunity came to an young William, which he could not ignore, and he made president and the largest stockholder in the one of the largest drug concerns in the United States, a job which yielded him a fortune far greater and than his need. This incident is clear evidence of what can happen and what one can be happening all down through the years under the American way of life. And the next topic we are going to see is like the habit of going extra mile is one of the just confined its rewards to wages, earns, and workers as well for the employee as it just for an employee of one's merchants whom we quite well gratefully testified. His name was Arthur Nash. Want to know who is Arthur Nash? And see you soon in the next audio session, Chapter 5, The Habit of Going Extra Mile.